What's up, everyone? It's Niceish, and this is the Rust Industrial Update. This is a huge update coming to the game, dropping this February 23. And so today we're going to just kind of do an overview of it, you know, what we know so far, you know, kind of a general idea of what we might be able to do with this, with the understanding that obviously this is in progress, and there'll likely be changes by the time we actually see it coming up here next month. So before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and just fire up this contraption I've made to automatically, you know, build me AKs, and then we will kind of touch base on the end to kind of see how it works, just as an example. I'm going to go ahead and start over here with the general components. Obviously, we'll begin with the tool. This is just like the wiring tool, except that it is for piping, and it connects and operates much like the wiring tool does, but just runs those pipes that you could see over there to transfer stuff with. There are 5 main new components. We have the conveyor, a splitter that works just like the electrical splitter. We have 1 input, 3 outputs. The conveyor has a single input, single output. We have a combiner. It brings three inputs into a single output, and then we have the storage adapter here, the storage adapter that is what you attach to items that you want to take things out of or put into. So we'll kind of, you know, touch upon what those items are, at least as of now. And then finally we have the industrial crafter. This is what you attach to workbenches, and it allows you to craft items based on a blueprint and the required components to craft that blueprint, and gives you an output. You can attach this to systems like I've done over there, where you have an in and an out, and you can pull in what you need and produce the item you're crafting out into a box or boxes or whatever. So as far as electric goes, the only 2 items that require electricity are the industrial crafter and the conveyor. The conveyor has a power input, a toggle, a filter pass, electrical pass through, and a filter fail. The filter pass and filter fail will touch on another video once those have updated a little more. But the electrical pass through is self-explanatory, the power input explanatory, and the toggle allows you to toggle it on and off, and it works much like a momentary switch. So as long as it's on, you know, this thing will toggle it on and off. You know, if you apply power to here, and it has available power to run from over here, I should say. If you apply power, it will toggle on while it has power, and then it will turn off automatically once it loses power at this toggle, assuming this is a constant input. So I've got one of those. We'll play around with that down there. And then the other one here, of course, is the industrial crafter. It has a power in, a turn on, turn off, and a toggle. The toggle works the same way, at least as of now in my, you know, testing, as I described over there. So again, this is of course subject to change. So as far as things that you can place the storage adapter on, the small box, you know, it'll tell you where it can go. The large box has 4 sides that you can place it on, which is really convenient depending on how your you know, loot room or whatever is set up. And this allows you to, you know, connect things from a variety of sides. You can hook up multiple to the same box, meaning I can have stuff running into the box with one of these, out of the box one of these. I've tried both versions of this, in and out or separate outs, and they all seem to work. So this is an awesome thing if you think about sorting. You know, you could have things coming in, and you could sort out a particular item or items out one output, other items out of, you know, a different output to a different box. I mean, so, you know, if you really start thinking about this, this is going to just revolutionize how we organize and move stuff in this game. Clearly, the industrial crafter can go on workbenches. That's self-explanatory. And then, you know, just kind of playing around with it, I put them on anything they would fit on. So if it stores stuff or operates in a way like, you know, here we have the new furnace. It just doesn't use wood, and so currently does not produce charcoal, and the regular furnace. So you can place them on anything that does stuff, right? So the fridge, the coffin, the lockers, you know, you name it, you can put these things on it, which is really cool, especially if you think about what you can do with this. That would be kind of a game changer, being able to take things in and out of that from deposits outside if you want. The large furnace, you can place the storage adapters on all 4 sides, so that's really awesome. I think, you know, using this, gone are the days of these being griefed while you're inside. This is going to make it much more difficult for players to come in and steal what you're cooking. So over here, we're just going to play around with this real quick. I've got 2 boxes here. In one box, I've got, you know, some you know, stacks of stuff here, and I'm going to transfer from this box to this box using this. We're just going to simply wire this up just to kind of get an idea how it works. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. So right now, if you know, with no power going to it, it just gives you this option to open the filter, which we'll talk about. I'm going to run power to this really quick. I'll just, you know, pick one here, and I'm going to run some power over to this thing. Like so. And so once it's powered, it gives you an icon that there's power going to it. Again, currently it's 1 volt I'm running to this, but this is of course staging, so we don't know if that'll stay. So now if I hold E, if you're on PC, you can bring up this menu, much like a lot of Rust items, and open this filter. And so what you're going to want to do is, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, well, I've got stone, wood, metal fragments, and some scrap. And so I'm going to say to this thing, I want those items. So I'm going to search stones, select stones, add it. I'm going to search wood, select the wood and add it. Metal frags, here we go, add those, and scrap. And I'll add that. There we go. So these are the items I want to filter. You know, if there were other items in the box, this particular conveyor is not going to take them out. So let's say I added, you know, I don't know, let's put some sulfur ore in there just for fun. If I put sulfur ore in here, it's going to ignore this sulfur ore because I didn't filter it. So the other thing, once you set filters, and this is something that's really powerful here, is you have an option for minimum and maximum per filtered item. So the minimum is it's only going to transfer if there's this amount of the item in the input container. If you leave it blank, it's going to take whatever it can find. But let's say you say, I only want to take stuff out of this box when there's 1,000. So you can slow down transfers by saying, let this build up before we take it over to the next one, you know, is the idea here. But most powerfully is the stop transferring once we have this many of this item in the target container. So this is where, you know, it's going to change how we do tool cupboards, because this way you can say, once this box reaches a certain amount of that item, I want you to stop transferring until that item count drops below the number I've set, you know, here in the max. So I'm going to leave everything just as it is and show you that, you know, how this works. If I were to just take this branch out and run it straight to the toggle, you know, I can turn it on manually, obviously, just like this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to show you the rate. So I guess before that, we'll just go ahead and, you know, we can bring up our color wheel if we want. And I'm going to connect the output of this this storage adapter to the input here, the output of the conveyor to the input of this storage adapter, and then that way we can transfer between the two. So if I were to just turn this on, it's going to start trying to transfer. I'm going to stop it because I don't want to do that just yet. Because one thing we have to note is that this thing has a rate. And so currently, as of today's Steam update anyway, that rate is 5. So it'll transfer items at a rate of 5 seconds, meaning so far in my testing, the maximum amount that it transfers is 32 in a stack at a time. And so, but that's per stack, which I'll show you. So, you know, I'm going to just show you that by hooking up this timer here to the toggle input on this thing. And I'm going to run some power out to this timer like so, and set this timer to 5. There we go, because the rate is 5. So if I were to set this to, say, 3 and turn this on for 3 seconds, we'll just go ahead and do that. And it's going to do its little animation. It's trying to transfer stuff. Nothing showed up because 3 seconds isn't enough time for it to actually transfer something. So the minimum it needs as of today is 5 seconds. So if I set this to 5 and run it, you'll see a little animation come up. It's going to start doing its transfer. And there it goes, it transferred items. So if we look in here, we have 32 of each stack that was in here. And so as of right now, it appears that for items that stack, 32 might be the max transfer stack amount per pass. But note, and I'll put all this back and show you that if you, and notice how it left this here because it's not part of the filter. So if I send all this back over here, but let's say I cut these in half like so, it's going to take 32 of each stack in the box. And so that's an important thing to note. Here we go. Transfer that over at 5 seconds, but you'll notice that we'll do 64 this time instead of 32 because it took 32 out of each stack. So if you have this thing full, it's going to take 32 out of every single stack that the filter is telling it to look at, which is awesome. So that's something to note. That's pretty much how you do that. A couple things. I think that's pretty much all we need to cover there. You can then, of course, set this to different times, but it doesn't appear to be exactly perfect. Let's try this 10. If I bring all these back, it seems to be every 5 seconds, but it also seems to be a little bit, you know, it changes sometimes, it looks like. So again, this is all in the testing phase, but I'm gonna run it for 10 seconds, let it do its thing. You'll notice these storage adapters every time. This one's red because it took something out, and this one's green because it put something in. And it looks like we might have gotten 2. Yeah, we did, because it pulled out a double stack, so there you go. So pretty awesome. If you just bypass this whole thing, let's see, I'll just unhook this entirely, and you were to hook power, in fact, we can just grab a switch. Where'd it go? There it is. We'll grab a switch, and I'll go ahead and just place that right here is fine. And we'll run this instead to this switch over here, and run the switch over to the toggle. So if I turn this on, it's just gonna keep transferring items out of this box every 5 seconds until it loses power. So this is how you can just, you know, you don't have to use a timer. The timer is just to kind of show you the rate, 32 items for every 5 seconds. That gives you a rate. So you can also manually, if you have this on, you have control over it here as well. So there is quite a lot of control available to this thing. So the next thing I'm going to show you is I made a completely sealed bunker here, and I wanted to show you, why this is so powerful. I've got this drop box here, and inside what I've done is I have create a pixel gap. And so what a lot of people are doing right now is they're showing that you can place these items in a way that, sometimes if you do it right, you can get it to gap through the wall. But if they haven't patched it already, I think they will patch it so that you cannot have, the idea is that these ports here are sticking through the wall if you put them on correctly, or, do the roof trick or whatever. I don't think that's going to last. And so one thing I wanted to try was, how can I make a sealed TC room that doesn't make use of any clipping tricks or anything with these? And what I've done here is I pixel gapped the roof. I mean, that's something for a different video that you can look up. But I pixel gapped the roof, and I placed the conveyor in such a way that I could access the two most important pieces, which would be the power input and the industrial input. And then I ran that into some splitters and some splitters, and then ran those into a 4 set of boxes, had those run to another conveyor over here, and then these 4 boxes run to these 4 boxes, and then this final conveyor here, if you open it, I calculated, I opened this up, so I said what my little test build here requires this many stone, this much of high qual, and this much shards. And so I multiplied that to see, well, how much can I fit? And I told this to, I put these filters, and I said, stop when you have this much in there, stop when you have this much in there, and stop when you have this much in here. And what that does is that keeps this TC perfectly stocked for this 3 days and 21 minutes all the time. Which is an incredibly powerful thing. So if you imagine being able to do this, you've got this drop box out here, and you've got this power running in here. One of the things, this is self-sufficient. You just keep feeding this. Let's grab some stone or whatever. I'll grab some stone, I'll grab some high qual, and I'll grab some shards. If I put those in this box, the system is going to automatically, you'll see these drop. It's going to automatically start pulling these items in. There it goes. It's pulling these items into these boxes first, and then these boxes are depositing them into these boxes, and then these boxes are then filtering through here into the TC. And so as they grow, you'll see that it's growing because I've been tossing stuff in there. You can back it up by just farming and dumping into a particular box to fill up these, and then once these are full, these will start filling up. So you have two. I mean, it's just, this would probably outlast any wipe anyway. This is definitely overkill. I just wanted to show you what it could look like. I have a bag in here so I can bag in to do anything. But the way I designed this, you don't ever have to bag in here unless you want to adjust something. I set this up where I pixel gap the roof, which means I can access this at any time. So let's say someone destroys this, or I just decide to unhook this when I log out. And this is probably what stuff I'm going to do is you unhook it, have this somewhere, whatever. You could even just take this thing off of it, and now it's gone. I can even unhook the power. Let's say I lose power to this thing. I think it was this. Let's see, it's this line here. If I take this off, now I've lost power. Everything in here is dead. But because I pixel gapped it and the way this works, I can simply, let's see, I think I use this fun purple one here. So I'm just going to run this back over there, and I'll show you how easy this is to put back together. So if I want to bring this up here, I guess it doesn't have to be this nice anymore, but I'm going to bring this all the way over here and jumper it up onto the roof here. Obviously, you would hide this in some way or whatever, like this. And because this has I can aim with this, and so once I find, there it is. There's the conveyor, and then all I have to do is find where the power is. Let's see, it's going to be on this side somewhere. There it is, power input. There we go. So I've hooked up power with no special tricks, no bunkers, no nothing. I went through the pixel gap of the roof and hooked it up. I can do the exact same thing with the output pipe here. I can run this up the top here, over the top. Let's see if I can get it over. I mean, you could just go right through the thing, but I was just trying to make this look nice for you guys. And so if I come and bring it over here, I can then use the same trick I used before, using the dot on there to find the conveyor wherever it is. Let's see, where is it? There it is, and there's the input, and there you go. So now I've hooked that pipe back up, and so if I go back inside, everything is now once again running. We have everything hooked up, so if I turn this back on, I should be good to go. So I just have to make sure I have the right amount of voltage coming out. So there you go. And so, you know, this is a way that you can do this without any of these tricks. So, you know, again, this is going to change the way we do stuff, because, you know, this whole system is no longer going to, let's see, did I hook that up right? Yeah, I did. Yeah, there it goes. So again, it's pulling stuff back out of here again, and we're good. So that's that. I'm gonna make some videos in the future about that. Obviously, you know, we'll cover these in detail. You know, I just kind of want to show you the power of what we can do here without any doors anymore. This is, you know, again, game changer. So the last thing I'm going to do is come over here to my little thing I built. It's utilizing the new furnace. And so I'll kind of just run through it. Let's see how many AKs we have over here. Oh, it's not bad. So this has been making AKs since we started, and so that is quite a lot of AKs. So what I have over here, the finished product is a final box that pulls from this box. So once this one's full, they'd start filling up this box. There's actually ways that you can set this to once it's full and doesn't pass anymore, then it can send a signal out, turn the whole thing off. I mean, there's just a ton of things you can do. So what I did was I had a box over here with, you know, with high qual, and I'm running that high qual into a combiner down here, just like we talked about in the beginning. That combiner is running over to this conveyor, and then that conveyor output is going to 2 daisy chain splitters, so that I can get all, you know, into these 5 furnaces, and then the output of the furnace. So I've got the, you know, inputs here of each one, the outputs, or excuse me, the inputs here, the outputs here. Those outputs are all running to combiners up here, and daisy chained into a combiner set up here, into this conveyor, which is then transferring the product into this box. This box doubles as a storage for the wood, because you need, you know, wood. If I open this up here, it's in the process of crafting right now, so it's going to make an AK here, right there, and it's going to get pulled out by the conveyor down the line, and it'll start a new one. There it goes. So it just keeps doing that, and then these get refilled whenever they're ready. There it goes. And you'll notice they're the exact amounts. We have a single rifle, 4 springs, 50 high qual, and 200 wood. That's because I set this conveyor to be, you know, to restrict, say only put these amounts in, so it only puts the proper amount in at any given time. And so in here, I've just got, you know, the parts needed to build the AKs. I've got the wood over here, also the product from these furnaces. These furnaces are automatically, every time they create something, it's going to drop it down here. That's going to get pulled out and sent over to the box, and then it just keeps going. So, and it just keeps doing it in these increments. You know, you have these 5 second, this 32, max 32 every 5 seconds rate. and the whole thing just proceeds down the line. And so the new furnaces, again, they're showing 1 volt for now. We'll see if that holds. But I've got these 5 furnaces. This whole thing, I think, is running off 33 volts. So that's pretty crazy to do all this for 33 volts. And then the end product, of course, is once it's done with the AKs, it pushes them over here, and then I have a box of AKs. And so you could do this with, you know, it's got these blueprints in and out. So you could say, well, here, build, you know, set a timer, and I want you to run for X amount of time, build AKs, then swap over to MP5s, then make some rockets. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy what we're going to be able to do with this. So yeah, anyway, this was just kind of a taste, guys. I wanted you to get a look at this and see how it all fits together. And of course, you know, as things go, we'll make more videos, but you know, we'll wait. I'm going to wait till the actual update drops so that we can make we'll start some like solid videos, you know, beginners to advance on this stuff once the update is really official and we have a more concrete idea as to how this is working. So, and that, folks, is just about all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. Otherwise, you can get me on my Discord. See you later.